GCP Load Balancer Exam Question. Welcome to this Google Cloud Platform exam question analysis. We're examining a content streaming application scenario that requires path-based traffic routing. This question tests your understanding of GCP load balancing concepts, specifically how to configure path-based routing for different content types using Google Cloud Load Balancers. The scenario involves separating video content from web content using different instance groups, which is a common microservices pattern in cloud architectures. Understanding the GCP architecture. Let me explain the Google Cloud architecture described in this question. We have a content streaming application deployed across multiple instance groups behind a load balancer. The application has two distinct segments: video content and web content. Each segment runs on separate instance groups, allowing for independent scaling and optimization. The load balancer needs to intelligently route traffic based on URL paths, specifically routing video paths to video instance groups and all other traffic to web content instance groups. This separation allows for optimized resource allocation and better performance for each content type. GCP load balancer types. Google Cloud offers several types of load balancers, and understanding which one to use is crucial for this scenario. Network load balancers operate at layer 4 and are great for high performance, low latency scenarios but can't make decisions based on HTTP content. HTTPS load balancers operate at layer 7 and can examine the actual HTTP request content, including URL paths, headers, and cookies. For path-based routing like we need here, we must use an HTTPS load balancer since it's the only type that can inspect and route based on URL paths. Backend services in GCP. In Google Cloud Platform, backend services are the key component that defines how load balancers distribute traffic to your instance groups. A backend service contains configuration for health checks, session affinity, timeout settings, and most importantly, which instance groups should receive traffic. For our content streaming application, we need to create separate backend services, one for video content instances and another for web content instances. Each backend service can have different configurations optimized for its specific workload type. URL maps and path rules. This is where the magic of path-based routing happens in GCP. URL maps are the component that defines how requests are routed to different backend services. A URL map contains path matchers and host rules that examine incoming requests and determine which backend service should handle them. Path matchers can use exact matches, prefix matches, or regex patterns to match URL paths. For our scenario, we need a path matcher that routes video patterns to the video backend service. The URL map also has a default service for any requests that don't match specific path rules. Analyzing the answer options. Now let's examine each answer option to understand why some are correct and others are incorrect for this GCP scenario. The correct answer should involve creating separate backend services for each content type and configuring path-based routing rules. Pay attention to options that mention SSL proxy load balancers, which are designed for non-HTTP traffic, and options that suggest using a single backend service, which wouldn't allow for the required separation. Also watch for options that mention concepts from other cloud providers or incorrect GCP terminology. The correct configuration. The correct solution involves creating two backend services and configuring host and path rules for the load balancer. We need one backend service for video content instances and another for web content instances. Then we configure the URL map with path rules that route video traffic to the video backend service. This configuration allows the HTTPS load balancer to examine each incoming request and route it to the appropriate backend service based on the URL path. This is the standard pattern for path-based routing in Google Cloud Platform. Complete solution summary. Now let's bring everything together and see the complete solution architecture for this content streaming application. The final architecture shows how all the GCP components work together, The HTTPS load balancer receives incoming traffic. The URL map with path rules determines routing decisions, and the two backend services direct traffic to the appropriate instance groups. This setup provides the scalability, performance, and separation needed for a production content streaming platform. The video content can be optimized for high bandwidth and streaming performance, while the web content can be optimized for fast page loads and user interactions. Remember, the key to success in GCP load balancing scenarios is understanding the relationship between load balancers, URL maps, backend services, and instance groups. Each component serves a specific purpose in the overall traffic routing strategy.